Hello everybody, welcome back to the broadcast from Space Age XL, where we're trying to build big, and we're trying to put in the infrastructure to build big later down the line. Hopefully. Hope you're all doing alright. If you want to do the old like, comment, subscribe for me. Last time we went to Vulcanus and got a few things set up. Today we're going to do some more stuff on Vulcanus to make sure that we've got all the cool stuff that we need going forwards. So yes, let's jump straight into it, shall we? This was the base. We cleared out a whole bunch of demolishers and given ourselves a nice big old chunk here of space to use. This tungsten patch is what we're interested in, and we got quite lucky with the seed in that we can get it out without needing elevated rails. If this wasn't here and we had to use this one, we probably actually could have gotten it out here, but it would have been a nightmare, and it was so far away as well. So this one is very good. I'm glad that this one is here. That's very helpful. And then we've got all of this space to use without having to worry too much about lava. There's a tiny little bit here, a tiny little bit here. We'll work around it. We'll work around it, hopefully. Okay. So the Vulcanus shuttle is still doing its job of going backwards and forwards and bringing us the stuff that we need. Because the philosophy of this is that we don't really need to belabor too much in terms of like bootstrapping every planet. We want to try and use our big Nauvis infrastructure to get us what we want up and running very quickly, hopefully very quickly. So let's start. We've done all the basic research, all of the most of the trigger technology. So let's start. Fluid bus on Vulcanus, of course. No reason to turn the molten iron and the molten copper into plates and then put those on belts. You may as well just put those in a pipe. So this will use... This is my fluid monitoring thing from the XL blueprint book. It just monitors the fluid, sends an alert if something's running low. So if we ever decide that one pump is not enough, we can add more. For the lava and so on and so forth with these, and then this is also scalable. This is using very, very little amount of calcite. It's less about the calcite in, it's more about the stone coming out. And for now I'm just turning the stone into bricks, and any excess is being turned into landfill. I'm not even sure what we'll do with the landfill, but we'll probably just throw the landfill in the lava as well. It's just more compression on the belts, mostly, because one assembly machine Mark III set to do landfill can take 4 belts of stone. And I feel like this is maybe one of the reasons why they changed the landfill recipe, was to account for this. But anyway. Molten iron, molten copper. I'm just sort of making foundries here, hand feeding the stuff into a chest. I've also made some pipes and things, and then come up with this for circuits. So the bus is going to be small, and the bus is mostly because the end goal of this is we want green belts. Green belts we can only make on Vulcanus. You do not have a choice. They must be made on a crafting surface where the pressure is 4,000 pascals? Pressure is in pascals? What's the H for? God knows. Hectopascals. Hectopascal. My friend, my best friend, in fact, hectopascal. Sorry. So everything we're going to be doing here is going to be in aid of getting green belts on the bus. Green belts to be able to send up into the spaceships and around the solar system so that we can obviously build big. And while we're at it, we'll make big mining drills and foundries, which means we'll need electric engine units, blah 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 blah. Okay. That's everything we're going to be doing. I could just make the tungsten carbide and ship in stuff, but refined concrete is 100 in a rocket and you need 20 to make a foundry. Of course, if you make them in a foundry, you get the productivity bonus. And then the big same with the big mining drills, right? You can make these in a foundry, you just make the tungsten carbide on site and you can ship in engine units and advanced circuits, but I didn't want to do it like that. I'm feeling a little bit like I've marketed this series as Factorio, as XL, and nothing really has quite gotten to the size that I'm happy with yet. And I know that's probably how some other people are thinking as well, but this is me just sandbagging it at the moment. Like, it's still early days. It's still early days. This save file currently is at 38 hours. Come on, that's nothing. That's nothing. Alright, we need plastic. Plastic, unfortunately, needs petroleum, which on Vulcanus is a bit of a different story. Simple coal liquefaction. Simple coal liquefaction just takes the coal, the calcite, the sulfuric acid that is in abundance on Vulcanus, turns it into heavy oil, and then you can turn that heavy oil into light oil and then into petroleum. You don't need the light oil. You only need the light oil if you need to make rocket fuel on Vulcanus, which obviously we don't care about. The ratios are a bit different when you don't also have light oil from an oil refinery. You know, like when you don't have this recipe to worry about, the cracking ratio is a bit different, and as such, these are just on a 1-to-1 basis. Crack the heavy oil into the light oil, crack the light oil into the petroleum with some water, turn that into plastic. So this is all perfectly scaled. 0, 0, 0. You love to see it. You need to turn some of that sulfuric acid into steam as well, and condense that back down into water. But while we're here, and before power becomes an issue, because it will become an issue, we're only running off one solar power block that is also designed for the Now-V solar ratio, not the Vulcanus solar ratio, which I don't know what that is. There they are. I don't know why I brought the boilers. I completely forgot that you didn't need the boilers. You just turn the water into steam. Well, you just turn sulfuric acid into steam. You don't need to boil water. Yeah, like this suddenly is a lot of power. 81 megawatts. It's also a hell of a lot of steam as well. Like 480,000 steam a minute. These are at ratio, but this makes 720 water per second, which is overkill. You know, like I've just done it because I wanted it to fit nicely in. You know, and I only had one row, and I was like, "Come on, mate, it's supposed to be XL. Double it up. When in doubt, double it up." Yeah, that's right. So the plastic is on the bus. The green circuits are on the bus. The molten iron and copper is on the bus. We do have to contend, unfortunately, with this irritating lava patch here, but if we go this way and then... Whoops! Oh, right click draws a straight line. Good to know. And then we can, like, go this way or something. We'll work it out. We'll work it out, don't worry. Alright, more stuff, please, more stuff. Tungsten is thankfully very easy. We could have made Vulcanus as simple as we made Gleber. Gleber is still, like, totally fine, by the way. Not a single issue has happened. The only thing that I've changed is I've just added a couple of chests here to pick up spoilage so that I can start stockpiling spoilage, because I will need that to make the carbon so that I can then make the carbon fibres on Gleber, which we will need for stack inserters, which we will definitely want, but I thought I'd just start stockpiling spoilage. That's literally the only change that's been made. Everything else is totally fine. Like, nothing has ever broken. Seeds are all backed up, being burnt off as and when we get too many. It's all fine, it's all fine. So, I'm so glad we did it like this. So glad. Anyway, tungsten's very easy. Turn coal into carbon with sulfuric acid. These are not quite a 1-to-1 ratio. But if we put in a speed module, we have some speed modules, right? I brought some speed modules with me for this exact reason. Speed module Mark II is maybe a touch overkill. But if we get this up to 1.25 a second instead, then we're all good, right? Come on, robot, come on. There we go, 1.29, perfect. There you go. So this gives you the carbide which you need to make the science, and of course these goodies here, the big mining drills and the foundries. This is what we really want, and then also the tungsten plates for the science, and the green belts. These are the things that we want from Vulcanus. These are what we need to take away. Gleba, all we wanted to take away was the science itself. The science gave us the stuff that we wanted. Vulcanus, the science unlocks stuff that we also want. Yeah. I changed the design of the shuttle. Where is it? I'm sure did I change it in this? No, I've still not changed it in this. What I didn't realise when I added this row, right, because it didn't used to be like this. I added this extra 2 sections up here for the cargo landing pads, and in doing so, I have ever so slightly removed coverage of the turrets of these 2 bits here, and it's amazing how often it happens. Like, it's actually incredible. It's like the game knows to send asteroids at exactly the angle that will hit. It's very, very easily fixed. Of course it is. Here and here goes, and a turret goes here and here with a long-handed inserter. And then suddenly it's all fixed, but I honestly thought I'd upgraded that design in the book. No, not that one. Did I put it in here? God knows. God knows. Anyway. Belts of tungsten. Weaving in and out. Around the lava. Because you can't underground lava, right? You can't just slyly dig underground. It ain't Minecraft. That's not how it works. Even though arguably it would be more realistic if that is how it works. But anyway. They're coming out, because these mining drills also, they come out pre-stacked. There, they come out already 4 high. It's possible that this is overkill, but this will at least back up, and then once it's backed up, that means we've got loads of tungsten backed up. So then with this we can make the science as well. Don't ask me why I did this. I've removed all of the pumps from this design, and I've just got the blueprint here in my back pocket so that I can put this down once these tanks become empty, because I honestly cannot tell you why I did this. So I'm just letting that run dry. Sorry, we're just going for a nice little scenic walk here. Yeah, that's right. I eventually double this up. I realise it's not quite enough. It looks like it would be enough, but it really is not enough. So I do eventually double it up, but not before I've put the science in. So I have to move everything over, but and then the science goes here. So that will look different. That will look different, but don't worry, I do change it. Okay, the metallurgic science. In you go. It is the tungsten products and the copper, and it makes this. And then because it's being made in the machine with the productivity, 3 was not quite enough. Actually, 3 is more than enough. Why did I do 4? God knows. I've done 4, it's fine. And then... Could I make a small change here? This came up... Eventually, this came up towards the very end of my previous playthrough, where I realised I was limiting myself by always using automatic requests from space platforms. It slows everything down, because it's not until the robots get the signal from the spaceship that arrives that it needs the science. Whereas if you do it like this, these will automatically load into the rocket as they get down here, and so then as soon as the spaceship arrives, the rocket can go. And it's minor, but when your throughput is limited, when your throughput of science is limited by the speed that you can get rockets up into the air, it does make a difference. So this one is a dedicated science launching rocket, and then our other one will just go here, and we'll do it like that. So these are going in straight away. There's no spaceship around waiting for them. I mean, there literally is, but it doesn't have a request for it yet. It's interesting how these... I thought these logistics groups worked in the same way that Blueprints did, and they were sort of like stored globally. But they don't seem to be. In a future version of this save file, I have the thing that I want. Anyway, so even though this is not set to automatically request from space platforms, as soon as this gets full of metallurgic science packs, it will still tie together that these need to go into space. And so then, of course, all we need to do is we need to go to an RV, so we need to set this up properly. We need another stack inserter that is actually set to metallurgic science. We then also need to make sure that that's... Oh, flashing images warning. Flash... I should have said, because we got this stupid disco science thing going on that I've done. When the thing goes to all white lights, it's a lot brighter than the rest of it. So it can cause minor issue. Yeah, it did it again. That's actually really, really bad. That's actually really bad. Okay, I won't put you through that. Just add the stack inserter and put the same rule on it that the other ones have got. Can I fix this just very quickly? Stupid. Oh my god, they still go while they're being deconstructed. I thought deconstructing them would just turn them off straight away. Take a sip of my tea while I'm waiting. Alright, set the rule. Make sure that the rule is... No, I didn't mean you... I didn't want you to do that. I just wanted this bit of the rule to go. No. No. This one. Less than I, which is set to 100 currently. There we go. There we go. Alright, so you're just waiting for the science to come in. It'll be a little while. It'll be a little while, but it's fine, it will work. And what does that get us then? That gets us asteroid reprocessing, which we won't use, coal liquefaction, which we may or may not use. I haven't actually run the numbers on this versus simple coal liquefaction. You'd think that this would be better, right? But I haven't actually worked out how much easier or better it is. It takes the sulfuric acid and the calcite away from the process, but it adds other byproducts, so I may just leave it. Speed module 3s and turbo transport belts. Obviously this is what we want. Artillery's nice. Artillery is nice, but it's not the be-all and end-all at the moment. It's the turbo transport belts, and the low density structure productivity is good as well. and rail support eventually, but it's the turbo transport belts that we want, and obviously the foundries and the big mining drills. Very, very important. Okay. So let's continue to expand. That's a song. What's that from? Oh my god. Let me think about it while I change scene transitions. It was Tall Poppies by Yard Acts. It didn't take me that long to realise, but that is. I expect about maybe 6 people. 6 people to know what I'm talking about here, but there we go. It's about the number of people who watch these videos anyway. Solar panels and accumulators here for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why I've done this, to be honest with you. Steam power is so easily available on Vulcanus, but I've done it, and I changed. So obviously the solar panel one is for the now-vis ratio, but on Vulcanus, solar panels work 4 times as hard. So I've done a very quick back-of-the-napkin calculation, by which I mean I just took 2 rows of solar panels out here and replaced them with accumulators, and I assume that will be fine. I don't actually know. Yep, it's fine. Whoa, okay. It's fine, who cares? So this will just make this, you know, it's essential. The thing with Vulcanus is everything's free, right? Lava comes out of the ground, sulfuric acid comes out of the ground, you can make steel, iron, copper with that, batteries with that, you know, like, it is free. It's free. So there's... I'm not shipping in solar panels and accumulators, alright? I draw the line at that. 50 in a rocket. It would take 620. It would take over 12 rockets just for one of these segments. Why would I do that? Right. So the bus is obviously weaving and winding its way around this stupid lava, which we can fill this in. Of course we can fill this in. We won't be able to fill this in until we get foundations, which we won't get until we go all the way to Aquilo and we research foundations and make the foundations, which is also not nothing, because you make 1 foundation from all of this. You can't even prod module it, for God's sake. But, there we go. Something to work towards. I've put batteries on the bus as well, just because I may want to make a whole bunch of robot frames with them, I suppose. They don't need to go into electric engine units, but... I've put them on the bus. I probably shouldn't have, to be fair. I probably should have just made this a self-contained thing. This doesn't even make enough batteries anyway to run at capacity, so God knows why I've done this, but... It's very spaghetti-like currently, this Vulcanus. This is only my 3rd ever time doing Vulcanus, and I'm also acutely aware that I will be tearing most of this down when time comes to go large. You know, so I'm not bootstrapping it in the way that I have done before, but I am just trying to do it quickly and easily and not worry about sending rockets backwards and forwards. Some red belts, very, very easy and cheap on Vulcanus. Expanded, put another 2 foundries for copper, molten copper in, because a lot of the molten copper then was suddenly being used in the science. But that is of course the beauty of this. You can just add another 2, boom. Can even move this across if I need to. 4 should be enough. Bricks. You can see I'm covering Vulcanus in bricks just because we're going to have lots of bricks to use up. And it's all good. It's all good. I think power did crash at one point, yeah. Power did crash at one point, which is why I focused on this, even though arguably I should have probably just focused on making steam turbines and making a lot of steam for basically nothing. But what can I say? What can I say? I'm a silly man. I'll just say it's UPS concerns. It's UPS concerns, folks. We want the game to be running as well as possible for as long as possible. Just trying to theory craft whether I would have gotten the belts out of here. Oh, and it's gone dark. Alright. Okay, more stuff, more stuff. More stuff, please. This is exactly the same as the red circuit build from Nalvis. It's just got the copper wire things replaced by foundries, and then it works very well. Works very well. With the red circuits, we can now also start stockpiling roboports, so we can expand the grids without having to rely on roboports being shipped in from Nalvis. So that's very good. As we know, this one of the quite large downsides of this system I have decided to do is that it's very hungry on roboports. Very hungry on roboports. Which isn't a huge deal. Like, at the end of the day, they're quite cheap, especially on Vulcanus, but it's still, you know, I did just ask it to put down like 50 roboports, which is not nothing. This self-contained unit makes electric engines. We don't need real engine units on the bus, not really. Arguably, we'll need some pumps down here, but I can just sort of make some pumps with everything I've got here, right? If I really desperately decide I need some pumps. Steel plates and pipes, I can just sort of do something like this. There you go. Pumps. Pumps? Why are they not here? Why are they here? There we go. Easy. Also, this isn't enough. This is not enough. This is not enough of the stuff that I want. Oh, God. There we go. That's better. And then the electric engine units are just going into making a very large amount of big mining drills, because we're going to want a lot of these big mining drills basically everywhere. We're going to want to take them to Fulgora, we're going to want to put them on Nalvis when the time is right. So that's everything we need for that. Okay. Foundries. Can we make foundries yet? Have I put foundries in somewhere? No, we need to put foundries in somewhere, which means we need refined concrete. I've got that ready over here. Take the bricks that come out of the insane amount of stone that you get from this process. Add a bit more of the molten iron and a bit of the water to turn it into concrete. Turn that concrete into refined concrete with a bit of steel, a bit of iron sticks, sorry, and we'll turn that into loads of refined concrete. This will just sit here, filling up very, very slowly. Uses a vanishingly small amount of water. 48 per second. That's not as small as I thought it was, but it is still like not even 10% of what we make. Ah, yes, here are the foundries. Oh, this is not a long-term solution. Is it? Actually, no, this might be the long-term solution. Yeah, no, this is the long-term solution. So I added a bit of lubricant here to this system. Oh. Yeah, sure. We're just researching metallurgic science things here. Why not? Lubricant is made when we have plenty of petroleum. So this pump is shut off when we don't have enough petroleum, so we focus the heavy oil onto this, and then we just make some lubricant to make the foundries, and we just bring it in with a... We just get the robots to carry their freaking weight, you know, because they're slackers, basically. Don't have enough stuff. Don't have enough stuff. So we got the foundries, we got the electric, the big mining drills, I should say. we just need express belts, turbo belts, green belts, whatever they're called, whatever the hell they're called. Okay, a lot of stuff has transpired. The sulfuric acid finally ran out, so I plugged the pumps back in and actually did it properly here with the monitor, which makes sense. Even more power has been added. I've automated cliff explosives, and I've done this. This is to ratio with one chemical plant making sulfur. So one chemical plant making sulfur can make 2 sulfur a second. That can feed 8 labs making explosives. 8 labs making explosives can feed 2. It can feed 3 of these, but I just did 2 with a speed module in, just because 2 is a good number and 3 is a silly number. Don't ask what I'm talking about. Then you can also use the coal and some iron to make grenades, use the same molten iron to make the buckets, barrels, don't know why I said buckets there. And there we go, this makes 24 cliff explosives a minute, and then we can use that to, you know, do silly things like just clear all the cliffs in the space that we have and try and just expand as much as we can, ready for when we need more stuff done here. We need to make a decision, basically, on what it is that we're doing. Is Vulcanus going to be our main planet? Are we going to try and make green red science here and ship it back? If we're doing that, then maybe I should make processing units here and rocket fuel here. And but I think for now we're going to just go back to Nalvis with what we've got here. It's all looking pretty good. It's all looking pretty self-sufficient. If we ever get too much landfill, it's going to go into the lava, because we don't need it on Vulcanus at all. It just seems prudent to keep some, right? Like, it doesn't go in anything that we're going to need here, but I really should just throw it all in the garbage, but I just can't bring myself to do that. 20 on a rocket, it's not like I'm going to ship it anywhere either, is it? Yes, doubled up the tungsten plate because the green belts was using a lot of tungsten plate. And we've got a little mini logistics mall here to make the green belts. How has this happened? This is wrong. I must have control clicked. This should be iron plates. Some iron into iron plates, some iron into gear wheels. And then obviously your various tiers of belts, and the lubricant also goes in. You need some processing units. The only thing you need that we don't make here is the processing units, but you only need 2 processing units to make a splitter, and with the 50% productivity bonus, so 100 splitters is, what's that, 620 odd processing units? Is that right? I don't know. I didn't feel like it was worth building an entire processing unit section of the base when we're already bringing processing units in. Anyway, so... and this is going very, very well. This will be enough to supply us with green belts for whatever we decide we need green belts for going forwards. Anything else? Any other changes? No, roboports. Oh yes, pylons. Just a little bit that makes pylons so that we can be completely self-sufficient down here now. So that I can just continue to do, you know, this, silly things like this. This is one of the reasons why I designed this city block the way I did. I know I've just said that it's a bit greedy on roboports, but at least in this system, you're more likely to get complete contiguous coverage via over all of the lava. So like here has not worked, but if we do another row up here, it should be fine, right? Like this one will get built, which means this one and this one will get built. So we can just keep expanding Vulcanus while we go back to Nauvis, I suppose, and try and do some cool stuff on Nauvis. I'm not entirely sure what that involves yet, but it might just be plugging a few things in, a few nice things in, and then going straight to Fulgora and getting the show on the road. You know, it's difficult. You don't want to do too much work before you get everything. You know, like in theory, this will need to be torn down once I get EM plants, because circuits are better in EM plants, and so on and so forth. So I'm towing a fine line between rushing all the science packs to get everything I want before I start building big, and building big like straight away. And I think we're hitting the middle ground here. I think we're hitting a nice middle ground of building big enough so that we're not like bottlenecked by waiting on something, you know, like we don't want to be, oh, if only I'd have built slightly more of this, then I wouldn't be waiting 4 hours for all of my stuff to get to space, etc, etc, you know. So yes, agricultural towers. I got an interesting plan with agricultural towers, which if you watched the last series you may remember me talking about. Some insane idea that I had, but we'll leave that for next time. Oh, and yes, these turrets are now actually doing things. 35 kills. Because the pollution cloud is spreading. Is this an attack group? I don't think it is. The attack group will be, like, moving around. These are all stationary because I am not... There's nothing in an active chunk close enough that's not pollution. Editor check. We'll do a quick editor check. I wish you could just teleport in editor mode. Probably you can, I don't know how to do it. They're not absorbing that much pollution, but they are. There we go, there we go, there we go. Oh, here they come! It takes them a million years to find their way through the trees, which is kind of funny. Man, they're stupid. Well, they think they're going to get their jump on me. We'll approach through the forest. Keep the element of surprise. Well, they're persistent, I'll give them that. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment, and if you want to see more Factorio, be sure to subscribe. Yes, I think next time we'll come back to Nauvis. We will maybe try and use some of this. The quality mall has just been ticking over, of course. Maybe we'll use some of this to improve our power armor, and then we might just bounce. Might just literally go straight to Fulgora and get EM plants, and then we can do some stuff. I will see. I will see how I feel. Alright. Take it easy. See you next time. Bye-bye.